Okay.
Okay, we're gonna call the meeting of the Public Health and Safety Standing Committee to order as of November 26th. Everybody got Jody's minutes from the last meeting?
Yes.
You both agree? I wasn't here, so
Okay.
that's good.
Any corrections? Okay.
Nope.
Right. News updates, concerns. Everything going okay?
Yeah, everything's good. I had a meeting with the superintendent last week on Thursday at 10 o'clock, and we had a discussion about the program, and what the school is gonna be doing is, applying for a safety mill levy for the school to fund their portion of the, police officer. And, after which, hopefully get the ball rolling on that and move forward.
Has, anybody had any luck in finding a grant?
We have two out right now, that Lexipol is working on. We don't have a definitive answer on those until, I believe it's, 4th or 5th month of 2025, which is when we will find out about the school program.
So one was for the school resource officer,
Yeah, one of them is for the school resource officer, yes,
and the other one?
for a full-time police officer here.
Yay.
Okay, so, those two grants.
It looks like with all the, investigation you guys are doing, that you really, really need somebody to do that full-time.
Detective, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the school too, they see just as well as I do that, they're trying their best to handle the incidents that are happening within the school. They're trying to handle it, but it's difficult, and it would just be more beneficial to have one of my guys on site.
So the incidents that are happening are,
There's been several. There's some that I can't discuss that are still under investigation, but a lot of stuff, just involve, one of the things that I put forward was that if an incident occurs, not during school hours, but does involve a student, patrol can take the initial report and, hand it over to the school resource officer to conduct this follow-up during school hours, which offsets the workload for the guys on the street.
right,
And, yeah,
right.
delegate it to him. yeah.
And it's very
Or her.
possible that school resource officer would know that kid too.
Oh, for sure, yeah, that's kind of, yeah, that's the goal.
Yeah.
So no, it was a very positive meeting. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put an officer in the school once or twice to do some, student education before the year's end, and,
That's great.
just to, not a pilot program, I really don't like that term, but it's just, to, help people get used to the idea of having a police officer within the school.
A couple times a week, or just a?
Just a couple times period, because
Okay.
our funding that we have for the position itself, we did fund 1 quarter of the year for this
Oh,
budget.
okay.
So what I have is the officer, I only have one officer interested in the program, in applying for it. He is, volunteered to, take that role on and do a couple of, student education
Okay.
programs before the year's end. He was responsible for the driving safety courses in schools in California.
Oh, nice.
So he's done a lot of student education stuff and worked pretty closely with their school resource officer program out there.
Great.
Yeah,
That's really great.
yeah.
Is this middle school or high school or?
All three,
all-
probably, yeah, yep.
That's great.
So try to get everybody at once. You do have to kind of tailor your trainings to little kids, and then, the kids that are older, and then in high school. So I used to do the drug education program for the schools, years back, and, the message was the same, but the tailor of what we're talking about is just a little different, so.
And then hand out business cards so the kids
Yeah,
know there's
no.
someone to contact.
Yeah,
personally.
and we have a bunch of stuff through the, Child Safety Network program that we have access to. For the little kids, we have tons of coloring books, wristband stickers, all the fun stuff that kids love. And then the older kids, more educational stuff and, you know, some cool stuff too.
Any plans to bring the, dog in too?
Yeah, so the dog will, we've already done a couple of, low-key PR events with the dog. One of the things with the school is we can certainly do a demonstration with the dog.
That would
But-
be great.
Yeah, we can definitely do a demonstration with the dog. But one of the things about the dog is that, you know, we have to make sure that everybody's aware that it's not just a drug dog. And it's not one of those dogs that we could all come up and love on, you know, at the end of the day. It's, he's great. Our dog is fantastic with kids, but not hundreds of kids at the same time. You know, I wouldn't,
Well, any dog.
any dog. Well,
Oh.
some dogs like me. I have a blue heeler that would just love it, but,
Yeah.
I mean,
My
Just
cats,
roll over.
I know,
yeah.
labs, they're like.
Labs absolutely love attention, yeah.
I have two that would not.
Yeah, right.
I saw this deployment summary and I was trying to,
Mhm.
so a deployment technically is when you're sticking the dog on someone or?
No,
What?
no, a deployment could be anything. Where the dog is used as a tool for something when the dog is exited from the car to help us with the furtherance of our investigation. A deployment could be something as simple as, bringing the dog out on a call just as a deterrent. It could be a drug sniff, it could be a human track, it could be an article search, which is if somebody, you know, throws something, we'll just send the dog out and he'll find it for us. And it could be a bite, be anything.
So there were 21
Mhm.
in basically a year.
Yeah. We just used him for another deployment, a couple of weeks ago where the police department scored some methamphetamine. The dog did a great job. I was part of that investigation, brought the dog out and did what he was supposed to do. He's fantastic.
It looks
Him and the
like,
handler.
it looks like May was the worst month,
Mhm.
where you had 5 and the highest before that. So again, that's a summer thing that,
Yeah, and it's, you know, there are some months or weeks that you'll see it's a little short because, you know, more than likely the handler's off at training or, at certification.
yeah, September was none.
Yep. Yeah, September, I believe.
And I see some of the other agencies,
Use the dog.
can use the dog as
Yes.
well.
Yeah, we like to trade off with county, like when, Officer Ship, we had a dog for, a fentanyl and methamphetamine seizure we had a few days ago. County was very close with their dog, and Officer Ship was out hunting. He took the day off. So we called the county dog, and he was there in just a few minutes, so. And then they use our dog too for stuff, mainly because they do have access to a narcotics dog. Our dog, for them, is used mainly for human tracking and, you know, article search and stuff like that.
And I take it Bridger doesn't have a dog?
They do not, no. No, but they have access to both dogs. We've deployed, I believe Red Lodge PD's deployed our dog in Bridger too.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah. Yeah, so, no, Grizz is doing great. He fits right in with the office dynamic.
Doesn't look like he's bitten anyone.
That's great. That's actually really
That's
good
the
news
one-
for me and everybody else.
Oh, yeah.
The dog to be used for a bite, we have policy outlining when, why, and how the dog is used for something like that, and we have had them out before ready to go, and it's, like I said, it's a fantastic deterrent because, to tell you the truth, I would rather be placed under arrest than bit by a dog, personally, because
Me too, I'd give up right away.
yeah, he's a big boy, and I've taken bites from him before in a training setting, and it's still devastating. Yeah.
It still hurts.
It does, yeah.
Leaves a bruise.
Yeah, he left another officer's arm black and blue last week
And that's with all the padding?
through his suit.
Wow,
Wow.
Yep. So
wow.
the dog thinks it's a big game. He enjoys the heck out of it. Person wearing the suit doesn't. But, yeah. But his main focus right now, I mean, like, he is qualified to do everything, but tracking, article searching, and drugs are his.
He's really good at it.
Yeah. Well, he's the best at bite work, but his tracking, article searching, and, drug detection is also way up there. He's great in all areas.
Looks like his detection environment's mostly vehicles.
Yeah, vehicles, we will use him on, house warrants. When we're serving a warrant on a house for drugs, we'll just turn him loose in there. When it's safe, obviously.
Yeah,
Yeah.
make it easy on everybody.
Yep.
Okay, that sounds like it's moving along. We have the resolution, I guess the resolution number is 3672.
Yep, and, Dennison did get back to me yesterday, and he said it all was good, so it's up for action tonight. So it's in our action part of the meeting, so I will,
The only thing I saw is after everywhere, as we normally have a semicolon.
okay.
So there's a semicolon, and then a period.
That's because it's now therefore. It changed.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So these are all like one sentence, divided by
Oh.
semicolons, and then the whereas.
Okay.
And I didn't know if, when it says the council hereby authorizes the mayor, whether that should be capitalized.
Lonnie changed it to your capital.
She thought so too?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
no, so that's,
And I assume that the names were put down here as well?
yeah, it's in the packet.
Yeah, I did, still just,
Yeah, it's corrected in the packet.
Okay, good.
So that'll be action tonight, so.
Everybody's okay with that?
Yeah, and as you saw in my, you had my meeting minutes, last week, or 2 weeks ago, whenever we had our last meeting, the mayor is working with getting, MOUs also with, to Grizzly Peak and
I
Syracuse
read
Animal
that.
Hospital, because we still need a place to board them for that 72 hours,
Yeah.
if they can't find the owner.
Yeah.
So, before
we-
Syracuse Humane Alliance takes, possession, yes.
Do we have a crate if we needed one here? That, in other words,
Oh, yeah, I have one in my office for Grizz, yeah.
is out, Grizz, you're out. No, I'm just saying
He
that
doesn't
if there's
use
a
it.
dog that you can't get a hold of either one of the veterinarians.
Well, we have access to the building to go there 24 hours a day. so-
Yeah, that's what the MOU does, it
Yeah,
gives them.
if we
access.
have, if we need a crate for something, I don't really foresee what. We do have one. Grizz never uses it. He has his own bag, so, yeah.
As he should.
Yeah, it's, the floor is cold in there, so we want him to be comfortable.
He's covered in lots of fur,
He is, yes.
but he's not an outside dog, so.
He is, actually. So the officer has a, structure, like, it's like a little house for him with a run outside that's attached to his home. So he is an outdoor dog for the most part. I mean, he does, hang out inside the handler's house, but, he sleeps outside. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he's got the fur.
He's got the fur, and I think it's, heated too. So, yeah, he's in good shape, that guy.
Wow.
Yeah, he's well taken care of.
Yeah, our German Shepherd never was in the house.
Yeah, mine was. That was
Growing
my-
up.
Yeah, that was my mistake, though.
He was like,
Yeah.
but he was like a quarter husky too.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Ours,
He wouldn't want to be inside.
yeah.
I had an Akita that didn't like to be inside.
Yeah.
And of the two that I have, one is a giant fur ball, and he's not fond of being inside, so he sleeps
Yeah.
right next to the open door with the doggy door,
Mm-hmm.
because he goes out and lays in the snow all day.
Yep,
Yeah, he doesn't,
yep.
yeah. Review the animal ordinance on dogs.
Yeah,
I wondered why we only had this on dogs to start with.
yeah, so it'll be, we had talked about this last time about switching it over, it'll be a pet ordinance, not just dogs. Although, just so everyone knows, the MOU with, Syracuse Humane Alliance and the veterinary clinics will only apply to found dogs, not cats. We won't be taking cats down there, so.
Because nobody wants to catch one.
Sad, but yeah, I mean, it's just,
I'd rather tangle with the dog.
I
yeah.
would too.
So
And the feral
that's-
cats are on their own.
Yeah.
yeah. But by including the hoarding under the pet thing, we're gonna try to make it, I guess, easier to handle. Feral cat colonies, that type of thing, so.
So on ordinance 904, is there a new, change? Did you make changes to this, or?
No,
Just notes.
those were just notes from our last discussion. and, that I had, gathered, I sent you out, from chief, the city attorney and from the judge, and I had also sent out, other cities' ordinances that I was hoping everybody could take a look at. That was about 3 weeks ago. Okay, so,
Sorry.
that's okay. You know, on how other cities handle it, you know, I know the mayor would like us to keep it short and simple, not make it a 10-page document.
It's only 5.
So,
Well, I, see, like, the first whereas, I don't even know if we need that. That's just the history of the ordinance. Do we really need to have that in there? Where the city of Red Lodge initially adopted an ordinance for animal control in 1983, which was amended in 1996.
well, this is, it just shows the history. I mean, they're just stating facts. So, I mean, it's not, and why we have it. I mean, it's just, I don't know that I'd necessarily change any of the first part.
Of the whereas?
No, it's more about, you know, do we want to, okay, number one, it just says chapter 5, article dog, and,
We could take off the dogs and just leave it as,
well, and we
Title
would
5.
change the title then to pets, not just dogs,
so,
or domestic animals, I don't know. what
so
the
an
correct term
ordinance
would be,
amending Title 5, Chapter 5B of the Red Lodge City Code
and it'll be
concerning
amended.
animal control. Can't you just say concerning animal control?
Well, you need to differentiate between, domestic versus wildlife, because we have a whole other ordinance that concerns wildlife.
So what if we said concerning domestic animal control?
That's probably,
That would get right to it.
okay. And I don't know if we need, chapter 5 is animals, right? In our city code, because I've got that here. Animals. So you kind of wanna, and they also do talk about wild animals, they talk about, and then 5B, and this is where, 5-5, B-1 goes, I mean, it falls right over to our
It's
municipal
consistent.
code. But there were things in there that, like dangerous dog versus vicious dog, the judge said there's no difference in Montana code, they're the same thing.
Yep.
So he wants us to use the, Montana code definition and only do it once. So that would then go to our penalties for an offenses, because we have different uses there, and it would just be the one.
So you're talking about 5.1E, dangerous dog?
Yeah, there's a difference between we have a difference between a dangerous dog and a vicious dog, and in Montana code, there you only use one.
And I don't see that in here. Oh, there it is, it's K.
Yeah. Vicious dog, and then we have dangerous. I know we have dangerous dog in there, don't we, Cindy?
Dangerous is E, a dog
Okay.
that in the absence of provocation attacks, bites, chases, harasses, or kills another animal, or has been previously found by any court to be a dangerous dog. Vicious dog, a dog that in the absence of provocation inflicts bodily injury to a person, so that's a little different, is involved in a continuous, sustained attack upon a person, not allowing the victim any means of escape, regardless of the injury or defensive action, or has been previously found by any court to be a vicious dog.
And he wants us to use the same,
Definition for both?
he wants us to use the Montana code definition, which, I don't know if I can find that.
So,
So,
okay, so
I
we're
can't
gonna,
remember
we're
which
gonna take
one.
vicious dog and dangerous dog and use,
Montana.
Montana
Yeah, I'm gonna look that up later.
code. Says Montana code. And in which instance then we would have it as dangerous / vicious dog.
Whatever they call it. I don't
Okay.
remember if they call it a vicious dog or.
Again, we're only talking about dogs throughout this.
We are, yes, but we are in this, but there's gonna be a section in here where, in the ordinances that the judge and the city attorney sent over, there was talk of, having, either a limit or, you know, what constitutes hoarding of animals and puppy mills. And then it would also include cats in that as well. So if you have like a cat colony at your property and you're not, you know, either it's feral and Beartooth Humane Alliance can come in and do their thing, or they're yours and you need to take care of it.
Because
You know,
there are
you-
too many.
There are too many. So, you know, I don't, we had a lot of talk last time about not really wanting to tell people, you know, how many pets they can have, but at the,
Because we're gonna send him in to count the pets.
right. Well, that's just, but, you know, but do we have it set up so that if you are breeding animals, that you have to have a health inspection done, public health and safety inspection done, and you register that way?
So that should be, so we have definitions, we have licensing. which is-
And that would probably be part of licensing. I don't know, I should have printed off those things that the judge went off, and I didn't.
Application, rabies, license issuance.
And then do we, in the licensing, do we have a separate charge? Do we charge more for, an
breeder?
unaltered pet? You know,
They always ask.
Yeah.
They always ask whether it's altered or not.
and, you know, and I don't know. I mean, we don't want,
People will just lie. Of course, I
No.
think it says it on the,
well, you probably have
on the
to,
rabies documentation from the vet.
does it?
I think so.
Um, let me pull up that document that I sent over.
I have an
to you
issue
guys.
with the tag shall be worn by, as identification at all times. I got one dog that can barely keep his collar on, let alone tags.
Well,
Under my desk,
the-
every tag known to man.
The point of putting that in there, though, is so that if the dog gets out, you can use the tag to find him.
That's why
that
I
helps.
put, that's why I put my phone number on the collar.
Yeah.
Because the tags, come off,
Right. But we still should
we
have it
can
in.
still ask for it.
Yeah. And if you have, or other means of identification on there, so that you can find them. I mean, it's all about,
The Red Lodge Police Department is encouraged to create a database of digital photographs of dogs residing within the city limits as part of a comprehensive effort to return at-large dogs to their owner.
did you know we already had that in there?
Did you know that?
Because we talked about that last time.
Maybe it's supposed to do,
That's
take a picture of every dog you see?
No.
That ain't happening.
No, it would be when they register the animal, they, and it wouldn't necessarily, it shouldn't be the police department that's in charge of that. It's when you register your pet, everybody has a picture of their dog on their phone, because,
When you go for your license?
yeah.
Do they have the capability of, what, we just send it over to their cell phone and?
No, we were talking about having like a database as a city with the registration, with the dog license. That in there, and I don't know, we need to do some research. Because we don't want to spend thousands of dollars on this
A lot of dogs
software.
look very much alike.
They do, but,
Have you seen one
But-
border collie?
no, I understand that, but what we were talking about is it would narrow down, like, how many people have labs, how many people, I mean, having the breed there would probably help as well.
But we've also heard that generally they don't have any issue with it, and they have the MOU with the vet.
That's correct.
I
But we
wonder
were,
how many animals are actually unclaimed and go to Beartooth Humane.
quite a few.
Really?
Not, well, they get quite a few, yeah, I mean, I've always got, they always have, it's mainly cats, but, and they have some dogs, but it's
I just
mainly
figure
cats.
if they didn't claim them to start with, the city shouldn't be looking for the owner. Maybe it's better off without the owner, if the owner didn't even bother to.
Well, we only have them for 72 hours, and we're trying to find the owner. And Beartooth Humane Alliance is actually going to be taking on that duty for us with the MOU. So whether or not, you know, if having a database of this information would help Beartooth Humane Alliance find the owner, you know, and Facebook, I mean, that's basically what they use anymore is Facebook. This was written before Facebook had
Right.
taken off. So,
Yeah.
you know, I mean, whether or not, I don't know that we necessarily need to have a picture of it. I think we need to have the database with and the police isn't in charge of it, it's city staff, so scratch that. It would be, you know, it'd be part of the business register, the license, the dog license, to have that information, you know, altered, unaltered, breed. You know, if we have the capability of attaching a picture to it, great, you know, 'cause, you know,
Well, it says encourage.
yeah,
I know in the planning department, when we encourage that,
right.
that doesn't mean shall.
Right, but all of that information, because then I would think Beartooth Humane Alliance could access that information, narrow it down, search by, here's all the people who own Chocolate Labs in town, here's all the people who own Border, and they can call those people and say, hey, is this your dog? You know, if it doesn't have it, I don't know, it's just a database to
Does
help
the
find
license
people.
have our phone numbers on it?
I don't know, I don't have a dog anymore, I haven't had one for 10 years, though.
I do, I just don't recall ever putting a phone number on it.
Well, I would hope it would have a phone number on it.
I don't think so.
I think it might,
You think it might?
maybe.
The tag or the,
I just know that I always bring in the thing from the vet that shows when they have their shots and all of that.
yeah.
And at the counter, they fill it out and.
Yeah, I mean, I would think they should have the number I guess
Well, the
maybe,
vet would have it because of the.
no, I'm just saying with the license, they should have your phone number in their database.
Yeah.
Whether or not it's on the tag or not is different,
But it's another step, yeah.
because you can only put so much information probably on the tag.
Okay.
But I guess we want to talk about, creating, I should have printed that off. But I did send it to you guys. I don't know if you can pull it up in your email or not. The other ones that, they're just really big and there's a whole bunch of them, so I didn't print them out. And the one that the judge did was like 12 pages long. So that's where the mayor was like, don't make it so complicated.
Mm-hmm.
And we sent everybody over our current dog ordinance, samples, animal ordinances from Dennison, and then,
Oh, I'm searching by you. It
Um,
would probably be easier.
and they have, nuisance animals, they have, owners, stray animal, vaccinated, vicious animal. So they don't have dangerous animal, they just have vicious animal. This is the one from Dennison, and they have nuisance versus vicious is what they do. And nuisance is,
Okay, found the sample.
yeah, so I mean, I think that's the one we really need to be kind of looking at, is the one Dennison sent over. It's just like
Animals and fowl.
that's because fowl is, I guess, not considered an animal. Nuisance and dangerous animals, permanent removal of animals from the city as an alternative to death of the animal.
Well,
So,
the one that I'm looking
so if you
at-
have a dog that bit someone, if you don't want it put
History.
down, you can try to find somewhere else outside the city limits, I guess. Adopted animals,
I like the
dogs and
nuisance.
cats.
The nuisance is more encompassing. It says frightens, annoys, barks, bites at, or chases any person or vehicle. That's a nuisance. A female dog in heat, not continually confined in a house, garage, or a closed area. Any animal which by loud and frequent yelping, barking, howling, or meowing annoys any person, damages any property not the property of its owner, is an unclaimed or stray animal, causes an offensive odor through accumulation of excrement or other waste, deposits excrement on property other than that of its owner. We've had a lot of complaints about that too, where people walk their dogs and
Yeah.
not clean up after them.
I know, well, we have that in this, our current ordinance.
And they have this as a nuisance animal. Because nuisance isn't vicious or dangerous,
Correct.
it's just annoying.
Yep.
Right. No, and I think we have, so we have, under offenses, interfere with passerby or passing vehicles, but we have vicious dog versus dangerous dog, so we combine those two.
Yeah, because they just have vicious animals.
Trespass on school grounds, be at large, unrestrained or not in an enclosure, damage property, public or private, that dog does not belong to owner. You just put animal.
You can't have a dog up at the school?
Not
Not a loose dog.
a loose dog,
Oh,
yeah.
this dog.
Disturbs the peace by barking, whining, or howling. To permit or cause a dog to urinate or defecate on property without the express consent of the owner thereof, so yeah,
It's like, okay, it's okay, go ahead.
I know.
Poop on my property.
To fail or refuse to pick up or properly dispose of any feces deposited by a dog on property. So, I mean, our offenses and stuff are fine. To keep shelter or harbor any dog without a license as required by this ordinance. Keep shelter or harbor any dog that's not vaccinated. To allow a dog that has been deemed by any court in any state to be a dangerous or vicious dog at large, unrestrained or outside of an enclosure. And then we just have cruelty to animals as provided by the MCA code. So,
That covers a lot.
yeah, but it doesn't cover cats. I don't think they cover cats, do they, in the MCA code? So that's where the issue is coming in, because it's harder. You know, we kind of need to make our own section, I guess, on cruelty to animals.
So the only thing that we don't have is frightens or annoys.
And I don't know if I would say annoy. I mean, my dog, my neighbor's dog,
They could be scaredy cats to start with.
or it could annoy me that I just don't like dogs or something. I love dogs, but
Yeah. It doesn't cover.
my cat being on my porch could annoy my neighbor. I don't know, you know?
It also has a female dog in heat. That's, that's not continually confined in a house, garage, or other enclosed area or under direct supervision of its owner.
Right.
Because a dog in heat could be a big nuisance for other dogs.
Yeah, they start circling the yard.
They'll jump the fence to get to the female.
Yeah. I don't know,
But if those male dogs are not being looked after as they should,
Should be
Yeah.
on a leash. So the
Yeah.
owner needs to go with the leash, with the dog over the fence.
yep.
If that doesn't happen, then
I don't really know that I necessarily wanna go there with dogs and heat.
Yeah, I
That-
feel the same,
That's really kind of,
overbearing.
yeah. I like what we have in ours. I think we just need to clean it up a little bit, and we need to add a section for, basically to prevent puppy mills, have regulations for breeding facilities, and, or do we even want to allow breeding of animals in the city limits? I don't know,
well, if they're doing it and doing it right, there's no problem.
Well, your neighbor might think so if you have, 10 puppies yapping all the time, or you have,
But we have that covered.
you can't.
It's a nuisance.
Puppies yap all the time. That's what puppies do. You can't put a shock collar on a little 8-week-old puppy.
We would have to come up with a definition for, breeding.
Right,
Like
I'm sure
how
there is, because, and do we have, safety, public health and safety rules for breeding facilities? I mean, personally, I don't really, you could have breeding facilities that basically are puppy mills. And I don't really want that to happen, I guess, in town.
There's a difference between a breeding facility and a puppy mill, but not much.
I know, that's just it, it's kind of, they can go downhill very quickly, I guess.
Yeah, I'm gonna look at the definitions of both.
Yeah. And, I mean, it's one thing if you didn't get your, puppy fixed right away, and she went into heat at 5 months, and,
You still had leftovers.
yeah, so, and you didn't get a puppy abortion done, so then, like,
It's against the state law.
no, it's not. They do that all the time, you take them in, it's like, help, fix my puppy.
So everything in here applies to dogs.
It does, and so we need to create that section for, cat colonies, basically, feral cat colonies, that allows, how do we, and we probably won't need to get Dennison's input on this, how do we allow the city, what steps can the city take to allow Beartooth Humane Alliance to go in and capture,
I shouldn't have turned it off. I turned it on to look at it.
Oh. To catch and spay and neuter the cats. Typically what they do with feral cat colonies is they spay and neuter them and return them to the place that they were.
Because sooner or later they will be gone.
They will, but it's just, they're usually not, pets that can be rehomed.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
That's medical.
Okay, so that covers breeding that we're gonna have to put in there.
Yep.
And, cat colonies. Are those the only two domestic animals?
We have,
When we looked, wasn't there goats that was included, which is against zoning?
no,
but
but that's just it,
we have horses as well, that's allowed.
right.
Is that it?
Well, and
I
that's
wouldn't
what,
call it a pet, but the people that own them would. And they're domestic.
I don't know that we,
I was just thinking of all the animals that are allowed in Red Lodge. Cats, dogs,
birds,
horses,
you can have parrots and birds and stuff like that too, but they typically don't.
they're in-house,
Yeah, I think we only need to address the animals,
cats and dogs.
cats and dogs, probably, and I don't think we need to go into the other things.
Because did we ever discuss chickens?
We touched on it, and, we decided that would be something we probably needed to go more in-depth with, like with Fish and Game, Fish, Wildlife and Parks, the game warden. Because the reason why we don't allow them right now is because of the bear, being a bear attractant. So we would have to create a whole new set of rules for people that if they do have them, then, what do they need to keep them safe from not be a bear attractant? So it's a little more in-depth than just saying we're gonna allow chickens or we're not gonna allow chickens.
Sounds like we don't really want to
Well, I know, it's
allow
not that,
chickens.
it's not that we don't want to, I mean, we have turkeys all over the place. They're, they're basically,
Apparently, the turkeys are faster than the bears.
but we already have people in the city limits that have chickens.
We know that.
And a lot of people don't even know that they can't have chickens. So, I'm not opposed to going through the chickens and what would make it safe for people to have, you know, and how many to have. You know, it's, obviously, you're not gonna have 20 chickens in your backyard. You know, would it be like
Free
5?
range.
Would it be 3 or 5? Yeah, I mean, what would you know, and
Do we
then,
really need to be talking about chickens?
well, she was asking, that's
I mean,
why.
seriously.
This is a domestic animal.
I just think cats and dogs is over, dogs is enough.
Yeah.
If you wanna throw in cats, fine, but let's not go out of that.
No, it would be the totally, it's totally separate issue, and that's why I say we have to do a lot more research into it on whether or not, and what we can safely do to allow it. And I don't know that we necessarily need to look into
I
it
don't
right
think
now.
we do.
And if we do allow it, then it's gonna triple how many people have chickens in town. Yeah,
I don't,
And I'm not opposed to that either, I don't really care.
yeah, I'm not much on chickens either. Okay, so I think that we beat this to death. Is there anybody online?
No. So, do you want to, I think we need to do some research into, what the MCA code addresses in cruelty to animals. Perhaps they also talk, I don't know, do they talk about puppy mills at all in MCA code? I don't think they really do.
I don't know. Quick look here.
It'd be nice, but I know that other cities do. So I think we should look at those other ordinances I sent over, look and see how they address puppy mills and breeding of animals. And,
Covered under, Montana Code 458211 for cruelty to animals, overworking, beating, or torturing an animal, confining the animal in a cruel manner, which
it's
probably
puppy
fits
mills,
in there.
yeah.
Failing to provide animal food, water protection from weather or abandonment. MCA's, anyone can file a complaint about puppy mills, pet stores, or shelters in Montana regardless of county or community. And that is unclean or unhealthy, is not vaccinated, mill owner will not meet you at home, sire and dam are not present, multiple breeds, too many litters. Yeah, it's covered under MCA,
Okay,
under the animal cruelty law.
okay.
Great, check that one out too.
You know, as a side note, Jen was in here last week talking about her dogs barking, but it seems like that, it would be tough to do something like against that, but it seems like animal cruelty would come into effect if that dog is on a leash 24, well, every time he's
And
outside.
it's tied up.
And the actions that she described, it seems like that would be a better course of action to take as opposed to barking.
Well,
Barking is very tough.
it's also covered, they're both covered.
Well, I mean, barking
know,
for
under
20
our
minutes,
system.
that, it's, believe me, dogs are really irritating without barking for 20 minutes straight.
Yeah,
They can bark for 15, take a 5-minute break, and get after it again.
Yeah, I read Jen's email as well and
Yeah.
sent her the copy of this ordinance and said that we'd be discussing it today. It sounds difficult because when the owner's present, they take the dog in. When the owner's not there, the dog is out, which makes sense. I think that's better for the dog, you know.
it's not better for your neighbors. Oh my God.
Yeah.
And there are dogs that will bark incessantly when you're not there. I've seen that before too, because they really want in,
Everybody's got a dog barking problem.
yeah.
No, I mean, seriously, there's so many of them.
I appreciate my dog barking when there's a bear or there's something going on. People going to my gate, especially during the election, prior to the election.
I know, but
They
But it
opted
is-
not to come in because my
it's
dog was
in our
barking.
ordinance that disturbs the peace by barking, whining, or howling is an offense. So it really,
And it doesn't really say 20 minutes.
that's somewhere else where it says
We
that,
did
I
see
think.
20 minutes.
I think it's in the actual MCA code, I don't know.
We
um,
did see something about 20 minutes.
Yeah,
Wonder if
it's
they
to
came up with
disturb the
that.
peace by barking, whining, or howling, specifically for a period of 20 consecutive minutes or more out of 1 hour. So they had to put some type of time frame on that because
I
the
like out of 1 hour, so then
sparking.
they could stop and it wouldn't start again. It doesn't have to be continuous.
Well, and it's also, if it's doing it, during quiet hours, you can't bark at all. They're not supposed to, typically. You're not supposed to let your dog out at 4 in the morning so it can bark like everybody else. So.
Personal experience, yeah.
I don't like to woke up at 4 AM, things like that. So I guess everybody should go read the city ordinances from the other cities, specifically if they address, breeding of animals, if there's anything about, feral cat colonies, anything like that we could possibly adopt.
Yeah.
To me, that's the main thing, is
Breeding in cat colonies, I mean, I don't know if we only have that one colony that they've tried to fix.
there's lots, there used to be tons of feral cats, and all over. We had a whole colony of them back behind Beartooth Insurance, and they lived between the bakery and the insurance office. That was where they shelter, and, Beartooth Humane Alliance, it was about, 25 years ago, they started live trapping
Yeah,
cats all over town.
they
And-
did that with us
Yeah,
fairly recently, a couple
Yeah.
of years ago. I think we're down to 1 feral cat or 2.
yeah, but I was talking to, I can't remember if it was Diane Zook or who it was, and they have been making a comeback. So it needs to happen again. I mean, it's
We
just,
had one in our garage the other day,
Wow,
that just like kinda came out of nowhere.
yeah.
man.
So I just want something in there that addresses that and gives Beartooth Humane Alliance the authority to live trap stray cats or, feral cat colonies. And they get immediate, they can try to find the owner. If there's not an owner, if it's a wild cat, they can do, something in here that gives them the authority to do what they do
But we also need,
without having to go and get a court
when we
order.
find that, we've gotta find the people that are feeding them.
Well, it's
There's gotta be something in there about people that are feeding.
We've addressed that in the past.
I know that we have, but I don't know if we have it.
Well,
in any
there's
of our
feeding wild
ordinances.
animals versus feeding domestic animals.
The last one we dealt with was for feeding domesticated cats or
Right.
feral cats,
Yeah,
Right.
starting a whole
colony.
And was-
colony, yeah.
And was there something,
He was actively doing it, yeah. We
I heard
charged
that he
him.
was doing it, and then he was, took the course and fined,
Mhm.
but he was still doing it.
But he was also feeding wild animals too.
Oh, yeah, he was.
Uh,
That's where the raccoons are starting to come in too.
would it be okay if I cut out a few minutes early?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah,
We're
we're
really
pretty
done.
much done.
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chief.
Thank you.
Yeah, I just don't know where we have found the authority to find them.
'Cause it was,
We called it wildlife.
no, he was also feeding the turkeys. And he was feeding wild animals too.
So we got them on the wild animals,
I-
but
I
not
don't- I don't
necessarily
know.
feral cats.
I don't know what all they got him on. It was a public health and safety issue.
Yeah,
Because he wouldn't but it was mainly because he wouldn't let Beartooth Humane Alliance come in and take care of it. It wasn't necessarily, he was feeding them and then he wasn't letting Beartooth Humane Alliance take care of it. I'm not opposed to people feeding cats, but I want them live trapped, spayed and neutered type of situation, so they don't continue to grow and propagate. I mean, a feral cat is only gonna live like 4 or 5 years, period. And so if you spay
not
and
like a
neuter the whole,
domestic,
yeah, if you spay and neuter the whole colony, it's gonna take care of itself, Mhm. And they can't be rehomed, so
No.
they have no life. So, I'm not opposed to feeding some poor cat, as long as it's spayed and neutered and cannot continue to make
more babies.
make more babies, yeah, so.
Well, I think that,
And they notch their ears so they can tell. you
oh,
know.
is that what they do?
Yeah, they cut their ear, they notch it. If
Hmm.
you ever see a cat with a little
Not.
notch, it's been previously captured and spayed or neutered, and is fine.
They're pretty quick.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't know if I had a chance to look at the ears.
Yeah, but,
Every time I go out in the
So-
alley.
So we have our jobs,
cat
I
that
guess,
runs
we'll
away.
go and,
Do some
review,
research.
yeah, do some research, review those ordinances I sent over from, I think there was Billings, Whitefish, Dennison sent over a whole bunch of different ones.
Yeah,
I'm not,
and then compare to MCA.
yeah, and, just take, I don't think we have to reinvent the wheel.
Right.
Let's just
Oh,
see
hell
what they
no.
have and, I mean, to me, those are the important parts, is I just want, Fairchief Humane Alliance to have the authority. When something
Check
like
out.
that happens again, it doesn't have to go to court, it can just be
Taken care of.
taken care of.
Well, you said before, they got a problem, and then they went in and took care of it, right?
Nobody was claiming them.
Okay,
And so they were able to just go out and, I don't, it was 25 years ago, and people were tired of the cats all over the place, they were just everywhere.
We had
And-
a colony in our alley.
Yeah,
And one of our neighbors on the other street were feeding anything that came along. And
Yeah.
so you had cats peeing and shitting all over, on your car,
Yeah.
anywhere. I mean, it was
Yeah.
crazy. You couldn't walk
The-
into the alley without cats
the
flying.
problem with this other situation is that it was on his property, and
He
he
wouldn't.
claimed them and said they were his.
hmm,
And so then, Fairchief Humane Alliance had to go to court. Basically, they had to get a judge to say, you have to let them in. And these are not your,
hmm.
and they were halfway tame because he was feeding,
Feeding
and they were, yeah.
Yeah, they knew where to eat.
He was trying to help them, but he wasn't helping, he wasn't helping them because he wouldn't let them be spayed and neutered.
Right.
Because he was
wasn't
afraid,
helping the neighbors.
because he was afraid they would put him down, because they were putting down some of them that were very sick.
Yeah.
So, so you have to give them, we have to put that option in there too, is that, the vet and Fairchief Humane Alliance have the ability to determine
determine.
viability of the animal and put it down, if it's not.
Especially if it has a
Yeah.
disease that it can spread to the other
Right.
animals.
So, so hopefully, I'm hoping some of those other ones have that in there, because,
Is that the biggest issue we're concerned about?
well, we have, everything else is there, it just needs to be enforced. The barking dogs, it's in there,
We've
Dog-
covered dogs.
yeah, dogs are very well covered in our current
Okay.
ordinance.
All right.
It's just adding cats, I think, and changing some of that language that the judge asked us to change.
Hmm.
So, it's not, it won't be that big a deal. It's just
No.
updating, basically it's updating our existing ordinance.
And if
Don't
it
have
takes
to
more
reinvent it.
pages, it takes more pages. We'll take out some of the space between the lips,
Yeah.
we'll compress it somewhat.
I've had requests from Fairchief Humane Alliance to
Go ahead.
make sure we include puppy mills and
Because we've
breeding,
had-
Do you want
breeding,
to
because
change
they
seats?
said we don't really have puppy mills in
sure.
town, but we don't
That
want
would
them.
be,
And we
Easier.
want the
Wasn't
ability
true for you,
to
you don't
not
mind
have them.
to not have them.
So those
Not
are the
exactly
two asks
true,
from
sir.
Fairchief Humane Alliance.
This is not
was
putting me out of
the,
trouble
the
here.
feral cat colonies, giving them
Look at
that
that, done.
authority,
Look at that.
and
Huh?
puppy, and breeding. So breeding of cats and dogs, basically, whether it's feral or otherwise.
Okay, then we are adjourned.